Take a deep breath. Feel the air filling your lungs. Feel the steady rhythm of your heart beating in your chest. Your body is a masterpiece of biological engineering, capable of incredible things. But it is also terrifyingly fragile. To keep you alive, it demands a very specific temperature, a precise atmospheric pressure, and a shielding layer of ozone to protect your DNA from being shredded by invisible rays. You are safe here, protected inside the thin, blue bubble of Earth. But step outside that bubble even for a moment, and the universe stops being a home. It becomes a hunting ground. We often look up at the night sky and see beauty, twinkling stars, silent darkness, a sense of peace. But that silence is a lie. The universe is not peaceful. It is violent, chaotic, and indifferent to your existence. Out there, in the deep dark. There are corners of the cosmos where the rain is made of boiling acid. There are gravity wells so deep they can pull the blood out of your veins, and dead stars that spin so fast they would tear your atoms apart before your brain could even register the pain. Today we are leaving the safety of the cradle. We are traveling to the 10 most hostile, violent, and unforgiving environments known to science. These are places where the known laws of physics are pushed to their breaking point, and where survival isn't just unlikely, it is physically impossible. Welcome to the cosmic graveyard. Our journey begins not with fire, but with ice. We are starting at the very edge of our own solar system, in a desolate region known as the Oort Cloud. Imagine a shell of icy debris, so vast that it surrounds our sun like a thick fog, and extending trillions of kilometers into the void. If you were floating here, the sun would look like just another bright star in the distance, indistinguishable from the thousands of other points of light. There is no heat here. There is no light. There is only the dark. The danger in the Oort Cloud isn't an explosion or a storm. It is the absolute, crushing stillness. Temperatures here hover near absolute zero, the point where molecular motion effectively stops. At this temperature, the metal of your ship would become as brittle as glass. A single tap could shatter the hull, exposing you to the vacuum. But the true horror of the Oort Cloud is psychological. It is the ultimate isolation. The distances between objects here are so vast that you could drift for 1,000,000 years and never hit a single rock. It is a graveyard of comets, waiting to be nudged toward the sun. If your communications failed out here, no one would hear you scream. No signal would ever reach home in time. You would simply become another frozen ghost, drifting in the dark forever. As we move inward, past the orbit of Neptune, we enter the Kuiper Belt. At first glance, it looks empty, but do not be fooled. While the Oort Cloud is a ghost town, the Kuiper Belt is a highway of debris left over from the violent formation of the solar system. It is dark. It is minus 220 degrees Celsius, and it is silent. But the silence hides a lethal threat: micrometeoroids. These are tiny grains of rock and ice, some no larger than a grain of sand, moving at speeds of tens of thousands of kilometers per hour. In the vacuum of space, there is no air to slow them down. They strike with the force of a high-caliber bullet. Attempting to navigate this region without advanced shielding is suicide. You wouldn't even see death coming. One moment, you are floating in the void. The next, a pebble-sized rock has punched a hole through your ship, and through you. In the Kuiper Belt, death is invisible, and it arrives at 30,000 miles per hour. Let's leave the freezing cold behind and land on solid ground, or at least ground that tries to be solid. We are approaching Io, one of Jupiter's moons. From a distance, it looks colorful, almost beautiful, painted in shades of yellow, orange, and red. But up close, it is a nightmare. This is the most volcanically active body in the entire solar system, but these aren't normal volcanoes. This entire moon is being tortured. An Io is caught in a gravitational tug-of-war. The massive gravity of Jupiter pulls it one way, while the gravity of the other moons, Europa and Ganymede, pulls it the other way. This constant stretching and compressing physically kneads the moon's core like a piece of dough. This friction generates immense heat, melting the rock from the inside out. The ground beneath your feet is constantly heaving, cracking, and exploding. At any given moment, hundreds of volcanoes are erupting, spewing fountains of lava miles into the sky. The atmosphere is a thin, choking veil of sulfur dioxide. It smells of rotten eggs and death. And if the lava doesn't kill you, the radiation will. Io orbits inside Jupiter's intense radiation belts. Being on the surface of Io is like standing inside a microwave reactor. Your electronics would fry in minutes, and your body would absorb a lethal dose of radiation almost instantly. To stand on Io is to stand on a world that is literally turning itself inside out. But if Io is active torture, then our next destination is a suffocating prison. We travel now to our own neighbor, Venus. From space, Venus looks serene, a bright, creamy jewel wrapped in thick white clouds. But underneath those clouds lies the most hellish surface conditions of any planet in our system. It is a cautionary tale of what happens when a greenhouse effect goes runaway. Touching down on Venus would be a short, violent experience. First, there is the heat. The average temperature is around 460 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt lead. Your spacecraft would begin to liquefy the moment it landed. But the heat isn't what kills you first. It's the weight. The atmosphere on Venus is so thick, so heavy, that standing on the surface feels like being submerged under a kilometer of ocean water. The pressure is 90 times that of Earth. It would crush your lungs instantly, imploding your chest cavity before you could take a single breath. And if you could somehow survive the heat and the crushing weight, you'd have to deal with the weather. It rains sulfuric acid here. The sky is a constant, oppressive yellow gloom, lit only by jagged bolts of lightning that never seem to end. Venus is a reminder that a planet doesn't need monsters to be a monster. It just needs an atmosphere that hates you. Now, we must leave the realm of planets behind. We are venturing into deep space to approach the corpses of stars. When a massive star dies, it doesn't just fade away. Its core collapses, crushing protons and electrons together until they merge, creating a neutron star. This is a city-sized ball of matter so dense that a single teaspoon of it would weigh billions of tons. Imagine a mountain on this star. Because the gravity is billions of times stronger than Earth's, the surface is almost perfectly smooth. But there are irregularities. We call them mountains, though they are only a few millimeters high. But do not let the size fool you. Because of the star's insane density, that millimeter-high bump contains more mass than the entire Himalayan mountain range compressed down to the size of a grain of rice. If you were to trip and fall over this tiny mountain, the gravitational shear wouldn't just break your bones, it would atomize you. The difference in gravity between your toe and your ankle would be enough to rip your molecular bonds apart. You would be shredded into a stream of particles before you even hit the ground. But gravity isn't the only weapon here. Some of these dead stars are known as magnetars. They possess magnetic fields trillions of times stronger than Earth's. We use magnetic fields in hospitals for MRI machines to see inside the body. But on a magnetar, the field is so strong it becomes a physical weapon. If you drifted within 1,000 kilometers of this star, the magnetic field would begin to interfere with the electrons in your body. It would literally dissolve the chemistry of your cells. Your atoms would be stretched into thin needles. The bioelectrical signals that keep your heart beating and your brain thinking would be scrambled instantly. You wouldn't just die. Your biology would simply cease to exist. You would become a smear of subatomic plasma, joining the crust of the dead star. But sometimes a star's death is not silent. Sometimes it is the most violent event in the universe. We are now flying into the heart of a supernova. What happens when a star decides to die screaming? It unleashes energy that defies comprehension. For a few seconds, a single exploding star shines brighter than an entire galaxy of billions of stars. To be anywhere near this event is to face total annihilation. The temperatures inside the explosion reach billions of degrees, but the heat is just the beginning. The explosion releases a shockwave of neutrinos and high-energy radiation that travels at nearly the speed of light. If a supernova went off 30 light-years away from Earth, it would strip away our ozone layer and cause a mass extinction. If you were close to it? The neutrino flux alone, ghostly particles that usually pass right through us without us ever knowing, would be so dense that they would interact with the atoms in your body. They would boil your blood instantly. It is the universe's ultimate reset button, a blast of sterilization that cleanses the cosmos of anything nearby. If a supernova is a bomb, then our next destination is a flamethrower that never stops. We are traveling to the ancient universe, to the vicinity of a quasar. At the center of distant galaxies, supermassive black holes feed on gas, dust, and entire stars. As this matter spirals in, it heats up to millions of degrees, glowing brighter than anything else in existence. But the black hole cannot eat it all at once. Some of the material is spat back out in the form of massive jets. Imagine a beam of plasma, thousands of light years long, blasting through the cosmos at nearly the speed of light. It is a lighthouse of death. The environment around a quasar is bathed in X-rays and gamma rays so intense they would sterilize any planet in their path. There is no shelter here. The radiation penetrates everything. It is a storm of energy that has been raging for millions of years, burning a hole through the dark. To look upon it with the naked eye would be the last thing you ever did. We now travel to the center of our own home, the Milky Way. But this is no downtown district. It is a demolition derby. We are approaching the galactic center, dominated by Sagittarius, a star, a supermassive black hole with the mass of 4 million suns. This region is chaos incarnate. Stars here don't orbit peacefully like our sun does. They scream around the center at thousands of kilometers per second, narrowly missing each other in a gravitational dance of death. The space here is crowded. Clouds of gas are ripped apart, creating shockwaves and radiation storms. Rogue planets are flung into the void like pebbles. It is a place of violent unpredictability, where gravity is the only law, and that law is absolute. It is a cosmic mosh pit where nothing sits still, and everything is fighting to survive the pull of the monster in the middle. And finally, we arrive at the destination, from which there is no return. The most hostile, terrifying, and misunderstood place in existence, the event horizon of a black hole. This is the threshold, the line in the sand. Cross it, and there is no coming back. Not even light can escape the pull here. As you approach, the gravity becomes infinite. We call the result spaghettification. The pull on your feet becomes so much stronger than the pull on your head that your body is stretched long and thin, like a noodle. Your bones, your muscles, your very cells are pulled apart into a long stream of atoms, but the physical pain pales in comparison to the existential horror. At the event horizon, time itself breaks. To an outside observer watching you fall in, you would never actually seem to cross the line. You would appear to freeze, hovering on the edge of darkness forever, and slowly fading to red as the light from your body struggles to escape. But for you, you fall. You leave the universe behind. All the laws of physics, all of history, all of reality, gone. You don't just die here. You are erased. Your information is deleted from the cosmos. It is the ultimate end, a place where and when lose all meaning. After staring into the abyss, our world looks different, doesn't it? We often complain about the rain, or the cold, or the heat. But we forget that we live in a paradise. We live in the one tiny, fragile corner of the universe that doesn't want to kill us. The cosmos is vast, indifferent, and violently hostile. It is a machine of ice, fire, and gravity, and that makes this little blue marble, and the life clinging to it, the most precious thing in existence. So, the next time you look up at the stars, appreciate the beauty, but respect the danger. Which of these cosmic hellscapes terrified you the most? Would you dare to visit any of them if you were safe? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the unknown. Stay curious, and until next time, stay safe.